They got to keep this playstyle intact. I'm not sure if we're going to get away with this. I think we might get nerfed, but please keep the playstyle like this. Please, please, please. If you do any adjustment, just make the numbers lower. Hello, everyone. This is Preheat. Welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. So if you haven't heard the news, Evoker got another huge info drop. They're reworking causality to actually work with ticks of disintegrate like we suggested. They're also changing a bunch of stuff on the tree, especially when it comes to capstones. They're reworking talents that we weren't even using before. I mean, honestly, it's like Christmas came early. I'm really excited to tell you all about this stuff. Most of these changes can be summarized in a VOD of a stream I did a couple days ago, so we're going to go ahead and roll that. But if you want to see gameplay examples as well, like the one that you're seeing in the background right now, stick around to the end of the video and you'll see more of those single target examples. And obviously keep your eyes peeled for more information because we're doing raid testing this weekend, also Mythic Plus testing. So a lot of gameplay is coming around the corner. Definitely, keep your eyes open for that. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to give it a like. And if you want to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. We'll do it from the top. Okay, yo, chat, get ready. This is going on YouTube. So yeah, these changes, they all came through yesterday. Obviously, we talked about it on stream. I'm going to recap these talents real quick so that you can, have the shortened version now that I've had time to digest the changes and really give them some thought. Yeah, that's so great that we gave that feedback and they actually listened. It feels really good when they do that. So yeah, thanks to the invaluable feedback from all of you, we've made further changes. It'd be funny if this was actually like sarcastic. Anyways, this video is off to a great start. Thanks to the invaluable feedback from all of you, we've made further changes to Devastation's talents. The bottom section of the tree has been significantly rearranged and has fewer 2-point nodes. Causality has been iterated on, maintaining the goal of rewarding fully channeled disintegrates, but addressing the concerns with how the new design would have interacted with haste, which is great. Just already, you've got me hooked, right? You're talking about haste and how it works with haste. Finally, some underused talents have gotten partial or full reworks to introduce new builds and playstyle options. Love to see that too. So all the notes in here, right? I'm not going to read over all of these because you can just look at the talent tree yourself. I'm going to talk about the important stuff. So the most important thing is that they completely changed how the bottom of the tree is. Now, it is kind of interesting how the pathing works, right? The pathing is not necessarily perfect. I still have some concerns with it. But overall, this is just such an improvement that it's hard for me to really say anything too negatively about it. So let's make this first build with single target in mind, right? We're going to keep a single target focus. So we're thinking of like a raid kind of scenario, right? So we're going down the tree. We're picking up all the essentials, right? All the stuff that we got to pick up. And we reach our first talent where we have something new. So as you can see here, Eye of Infinity is much different than it used to be. This is just a completely new talent. It makes it so your Eternity Surge deals increased damage to your primary target. And then the alternative here is Event Horizon, which is just cooldown reduction. So this is going to actually work with Scintillation as well. So far, I'm thinking Eye of Infinity for this. And now let's keep going down the tree until we reach a roadblock here. So, all right, so I picked up all the single target talents, right, that I can think of here. And now we need to start thinking a little bit outside the box because we need more single target damage. We can't really get that out of this tree right now. So let's start thinking, okay, we have our 2-target cleave, right, with Eternity Span. That's already not single target, but it's probably relevant in raid. And let's start thinking about other stuff. So probably Power Nexus, right? And probably Engulfing Blaze would be like the next choice. Alternatively, you could also just go into Honed Aggression and maybe Charge Blast, right? This is another option, but I think probably the better option in most cases, since Honed Aggression is kind of weak, is it's probably just to go Dense Energy, Power Nexus, Engulfing Blaze, right? And so that's going to unlock this next tier here. And this is where things get very tight for Mythic Plus. For raid, it's actually not too bad. So this talent right here is new, Arcane Vigor. Shattering Star grants Essence Burst. I love this talent, okay? I absolutely love this talent. It feels so good. And it basically, whenever you press Shattering Star in single target now with this talent, it just gives you an Essence Burst back. I cannot emphasize enough how good this feels in Dragon Rage because the whole issue with Shattering Star in Dragon Rage is you press the button because you have to press it because it's worth it to press it, right? And you don't get any feedback from it, right? Like with Azure Strike, you get Essence Burst back. But with Shattering Star, you didn't. But now you can with this talent. I don't know if it's going to be as good as Focusing Iris. We'll have to wait for Sims to know whether or not it is. But I will say, based on the Feely Craft, this feels really good. Okay, so I'm really hoping that this is like the talent that we want to go with. Because if it isn't, then I'm going to be super duper sad. So anyways, I'm going to pick it just because I like it. And then going down the tree here, we have some mandatory talents, right? So obviously we need to be picking up Titanic Wrath. We also need to pick up Hoarded Power and Scintillation. These are non-negotiable talents, right? So we're going to have to go Spellweaver's Dominance to get to Scintillation, right? So we go down here, Hoarded Power, Scintillation. By the way, this talent has always been a capstone. It wasn't like officially a capstone, but like it always has been in spirit, right? Like this is just such a strong talent. And I think it is worthy of the capstone placement. And I like that we kind of path through it through Hoarded Power, because I feel like there's some sort of synergy here. And I do like that you can pick up Hoarded Power without having to go Scintillation, right? I think this is a well thought out structure for these talents right here. I think this is pretty well done. And then obviously we also want Causality. So Causality has been completely reworked once again, and we have a new effect on it, right? So this makes it so your Disintegrate reduces the cooldown remaining per tick, and it also makes it so Pyre reduces the cooldown per enemy struck. And this is very well conceived, because if Pyre had just a flat amount of like 2 seconds per Pyre, then I feel like there would definitely be a case where you might start Pyring in single target, right? And that's probably not a good idea. So the fact that Pyre works off of target's hit is smart, but there is an unintended consequence to this, right? So because Pyre is a spell that has a travel time, so the cooldown reduction on Pyre doesn't actually happen until it hits the enemies, which means that in AoE, it can feel a little weird sometimes, because you're like trying to get the cooldown reduction timing right, so you can use your empowers again. But then you end up wasting time sometimes, because you'll like throw out a Pyre and then you'll instantly use your empower, and then the cooldown reduction happens when the spell is already off cooldown, right? So that's why it can be an issue. So anyways, I like this talent. I think it's really well done. I do also feel some weirdness with it in AoE, although maybe that's just like growing pains, right? Like maybe I'll get used to it over time. So yeah, anyways, that is the bulk of the changes so far. We also have some other important things, right? Like Power Swell is a single point now, so that means we have access to Iridescence, which is great. Burnout is also a single point now, which is also fantastic, right? So Scintillation, Burnout, Power Swell, all single point talents now. And then we have Fauna Magic, which now also makes our empowers charge up faster, right? And now we also have Ever-Burning Flame over here on the left, right? So they basically broke this apart from this choice node. And then we have Imminent Destruction, which has been reworked. This is basically just a small steroid whenever we use Deep Breath. Makes Deep Breath like a 1 minute cooldown. It makes us able to machine gun Pyres afterwards. And then the new Feed the Flames makes it so that after we cast a certain amount of Pyres, we automatically use Firestorm. This talent feels really good, but I feel like 12 is a little high for it. And I'm not really sure if it's tuned all that well. Also, I would like to be able to get to this talent without having to first take Imminent Destruction. You know, once again, some pathing things, right? Like I would love to be able to go from Volatility to Firestorm. I would love to be able to go from Raging Inferno to Feed the Flames. Unfortunately, on the left side though, the pathing just feels a little off, right? Like I don't want to have to pick up Engulfing Blaze and Mythic Plus. I would rather be able to route directly from Volatility down, right? But you just can't, right? And so that's pretty much what's going on here. In terms of like a single target build, just to round it out, right? Since we already started it, this is what I'm kind of looking at right now. And yes, I am running Iridescence. I think Iridescence might actually be worth it, but we'll have to obviously see in Sims if it ends up being that good. But this is kind of what I'm thinking so far. So anyways, chat, what do you think of this so far? I mean, this is a lot of change, right? Like obviously we're getting a lot of changes to these talents. A lot has moved around here. I mean, it seems like people are liking the changes, right? Like it seems like the response has been pretty good so far. So I'd be interested to know what y'all are thinking, or at least first impressions. Feeling a lot better about this? Yeah, me too. I feel, I'd say reassured, right? I used the joke earlier. The last patch notes we got about 26 days ago were like a creepypasta or like a r/no sleep, right? Where like you read it and it like sends a chill down your spine. Was not feeling good, right? Was not vibing with the previous iteration of Evoker. And now that we got these new changes, I mean, they've already reassured me so much just by talking about how the haste interactions work, right? Just the fact that they're listening to us, right? Just the fact that they are calling our feedback invaluable and making like this little mini novel for us. It makes me feel really good about where this class is going. And yeah, I mean, it took a while, right? Like I definitely was starting to doom a little bit. I'll be honest, I was dooming. I basically made like a promise to myself. I was like, if Evoker changes don't come by next testing, I'm just gonna probably start making moves towards Mage again. I would love to see Mage changes too. I feel like Mage is kind of in the same situation, kind of where I don't really like the direction of it. And it's been the same for so long that I would really like to see them change things before I go back to it. Silo says, does it feel more like we have to pick single target or AoE talents now? To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, which is like, it's not like good or bad, I'd say. It seems to just be the direction that they want to go with these talents. I don't necessarily think it's positive or negative innately, but I think the most interesting thing is whenever there's good options for both, right? And this new talent system, I do think it has good options for both single target and AoE and multiple ways that you could do it. We'll have to see in Sims how it pans out, like how close all the talents are, right? Like in terms of tuning. But overall, it feels pretty good so far. And your aggro? Yeah, so aggro is still an issue. I think aggro is going to be an issue for us until they do something about our aggro. I think, so the easiest solution, right? Like the super easy solution to aggro is just give us like a bronze spell, right? Just like call it like Dilate Threat or something and make it so that you press your bronze spell. Maybe it's like a 30-second cooldown. Maybe it's a minute. Maybe it's 2 minutes, okay? You press your cooldown and it just gives you like a grace period for your threat, right? Dilate your target's sense of its surroundings, causing them to not perceive hostile actions against them for the next 20 seconds. I don't know, make up some RP lore thing, right? Like it doesn't have to be super well thought out. Just give us some way to like mitigate threat a little bit, and that would do so much to make this class feel much better. We don't need to have a super overpowered thing. I would like him. Ogre Misdirect would be really overpowered. I would like that a lot. It'd be pretty much the same as like a marksmanship one, right? But yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily have to have Misdirect. I just want to be able to like not die to threat. And the fact that like a warrior can AoE taunt and then I still pull aggro off them after their taunt falls off, that makes me very worried about my threat, right? And that's not even like that's not even like an exaggeration. Like this has literally happened to me. I think I would need the 4-piece on again to make it happen again, because a big part of like why I was able to pull threat in that situation was just because of the sheer amount of AoE I was doing. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how things pan out. Let's see what else. So our dev is listening. Feel strongman. Yes, exactly. The Chad Voker. Iridescence look fun and add some intrigue, saving burnout procs for after your next fire breath SS, double disintegrate buff, etc. Well, I don't think you really think too much about it, to be honest with you. I think you just kind of play Iridescence just by playing normally, and you just get some extra damage. I would like to see Iridescence maybe change. It doesn't really seem like something that's impactful enough for me to actually pay attention to it, right? But who knows? Maybe in the future we'll find ways to where we can like squeeze more damage out of it. But the fire one, I will say the fire one is actually kind of interesting, because so like think about it this way. If you stack Scarlet Adaptation, okay, so we have Scarlet Adaptation max, right? That's this little number right here. And then let's say that we do a full Leaping Flames, right? So like we're gonna fully juice up our Leaping Flames, like so, by doing like a full power fire breath right here. Yeah. Okay, now we have Iridescence and we have Leaping Flames and all this shit. If we rock that Leaping Flame, boom, that was like a single cast. We had a crit for 255k. Sounds a little boring, but I don't mind it. I honestly don't mind it. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about Iridescence? Do you like this talent? I don't think anyone's really been playing with this talent unless you're experimenting, right? Or you played in the beta. There was a time in beta where it looked like we might use it. But I think this talent's actually going to be new for most people, so I feel like Power Swell might be a viable way to get those 12 fires going fast with Feed the Flames for AoE. What do you think? So Power Swell is not even going to give you 1 essence back. You could basically rewrite this talent as just after you empower a spell, you gain 1 essence 4 seconds later. That's how you could rewrite this, right? It's a very small talent in terms of its power. So like just to put it in perspective, Arcane Vigor is 3 times as good and it's instant. Right? Because Power Swell is 1/3 of the strength and it takes 4 full seconds for it to actually activate. So that's the gap, right? There's a really big gap between these talents. Power Swell should just be whenever you empower a spell, you get an essence burst. Like that would actually make this like a really good talent. And it would add like other fun ways to play, I think. So I would be in favor of that. But as it stands right now, 1 essence, that's not really a big deal, right? Because essence is going to regenerate once every 5 seconds unhasted, and 100% essence regeneration for 4 seconds just means that you get 1 essence, basically 1 extra essence over that time. If it's mandatory, it should be a passive. Yeah, I mean, so like mandatory stuff in the tree, it's like scintillation, it's like causality. A lot of the stuff in here is kind of mandatory, you could say, right? But I mean, it's okay for mandatory stuff to be a talent. It's okay for that to happen. It's just as long as it like makes sense for like where it is and what you're giving up for it, I think it's okay. There's definitely cases where you would drop scintillation like in a council fight, but overall, I think this is probably one of the more important talents that you would probably always pick. Will you do new guides once 10.1 hits? Trying to get my guides out hopefully this week, maybe next week. They'll definitely be out before 10.1. I can assure you this. Time is of the essence. Content is flowing like crazy, as you can tell. We're just getting so much news as the patch is coming up, right? They announced it's coming in the month, Now we're getting all of these hot fixes, all these class changes. I'm sure we're going to be getting more information about the raid, right, and Mythic Plus and everything else. So the content is flowing really, really quick right now. It's hard to keep up. What I think about the new talents, any early signs of best in slot? Right now, this is what's feeling right to me. So we'll see if it ends up being some variation of this. I could see a possibility where it's like, maybe you're going, instead of Iridescence Power Swell, maybe you're putting these talents somewhere else because Power Swell is fairly weak. But it'll probably end up looking fairly similar to this. The only thing I could see moving around is maybe changing the Shattering Star talent and probably moving these 2 points somewhere else. And other than that, I think this is going to be the build, at least in Raid. In Mythic Plus, that's where things get really complicated. I don't know what the Mythic Plus build is going to look like, but I have some theories. I would love to be able to pick up like Font of Magic and Imminent Destruction. I think this could be really fun. It's a good problem to be like, I don't know what talents are best, right? That's ideal. But obviously we will know once we have sim data. If you're taking Imminent Destruction, you may as well take Onyx Legacy. Those two definitely pair together well. And also on that topic, I think it's kind of interesting that they're not together. Like I feel like Onyx Legacy should almost be like tied to Imminent Destruction in some way. Like they should be together. There's a lot of things I would move around here. If I had the power to move them, I would make a path here between Eternity Surge and Charge Blast. I'd make a path here from Volatility to Firestorm. I'd make a path here from Raging Inferno to Feed the Flames. I would probably move either Font of Magic or Burnout to this spot right here in the middle, just to give me one more option, right, before I go into the capstone zone. The thing is, we can't really know which talents are best, so there are many decent variations here, but I'm sure we're going to have several builds for the encounters. Yeah, there's going to be different builds for every encounter, for sure. But one thing I can guarantee you, though, is that aside from these talents I just pulled out, this is probably what you're rocking in Raid. So yeah, overall, I mean, this is great. Like it's hard for me to say anything negative. Obviously there's stuff that I still would change, right? I don't think it's perfect. I feel like there should be a connection between Volatility and Firestorm. That's probably the biggest one. And maybe the organization in this bottom left area is a little weird too. But overall, I mean, these are like minor concerns compared to where I was before. Ready to go. This one's no Bloodlust this time. So actually, no, let's Bloodlust. Why not? Let's just go all out, right? Forgive me, Sensei. Or I'm going all out just this once. This is looking very nice. Oh, we're so close. Yeah, I mean, I like this talent a lot. Wait, hold on. This isn't even with... Okay, hold on. We gotta use Eye of Infinity. Like, come on. 15% more damage on this shit. Look how much damage this did. Bro, can we please just get 4 Eternity Surges off? Please. Is there any way we can still get the 4 off? Oh, please, please, please. Let me get the 4 off, please. Oh, I don't know if we can, though. God, it's so tough. Okay, we won't have Lust up for a little bit, so we're going to do one without Lust. This is looking real nice, though. Real spicy. Real spicy. Big fan of it, gotta say. I'm leading with Eternity Surge too, because I feel like it's actually higher prio with this talent. By a lot. I'm just gonna go for it right away. Right? I don't want to wait on it. That was a little early. Can I make it? Ooh. Oh. Oh, so close. What a tip. I know. That tip was mission critical. It wouldn't have been that tight if I squandered like half a GCD worth of ticks. So I squandered like 0.5 seconds of CDR or something like that. So it wouldn't have, I mean, I still think I would have needed the tip, but it wouldn't have been as tight. I like these changes though. It is so much nicer than it was. It's just, we won't have a big enough sample size saying the target dummy to know which one is definitively better. So we'll just have to go off the feels, right? The feels. But the feels tell me that I like Dragon Rage uptime. That's what the feels are telling me right now. All right, let's do it. Oh. I like that. I like that. Getting those extensions without Bloodlust, dude? Yeah, sign me the fuck up for that. Yo, I like that. That's good. That's pretty good. Hey. Hey, chat. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think I like this talent. You know what? I think this is a good talent. What am I chasing? Dragon Rage uptime. Yeah, I agree, Kia. If there was like, if you could do the old animosity, there's definitely a world where you would just keep Dragon Rage up indefinitely. That'd be pretty crazy. Is it possible without PI? I mean, maybe with enough luck. I don't think so. It's like pretty close with PI. Yeah, you can actually chase extensions again. Pre, you might be addicted to chasing extensions. Maybe go consult a medical expert. Yeah. Yeah, next thing you know, I'm going to be raiding hair salons. They got to keep this playstyle intact. I'm not sure if we're going to get away with this. I think we might get nerfed, but please keep the playstyle like this. Please, please, please. If you do any adjustment, just make the numbers lower. Just like, do not nerf the playstyle, please. Keep it this way. It's just, it's so much better than it was like a couple days ago. Like literally 2 days ago, this rotation was just like, it was just like a bad joke of itself, right?